This is a look at the CIE AS Economics Paper 2 published paper on the CIE website. And I'm looking at question 3b, which is discuss the view that a market economy is always preferable to a planned economy because of the existence of the price mechanism. And this is a 12-mark essay, which means it requires content, application, analysis, and evaluation. Level 1 knowledge, level 2 application, level 3 analysis, and level 4 evaluation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this essay step by step and guide you through my thought process as to how this should be marked. So let's get straight to it. The first paragraph should be an introduction, and I'm going to highlight something for you here so you know what you need to best do. You need to define the key terms from the essay prompt, so make sure you do that and make sure you identify them properly too. So I am going to highlight them and we are going to define them as we proceed. So a market economy is one in which all resources are allocated by market forces such as supply from producers and demand of consumers with no intervention by government. A planned economy is one in which all resources are allocated by the government. And the price mechanism is the method by which. So I'm going to put a comment here and say this is good definition. This is a good explanation of the key terms. From this point, I would say L1 marks have been earned, and the further marks will come from the understanding demonstrated in the rest of the essay. And what that means is, as I'm reading the essay, they've given me this information, and I'm going to assume that they're going to continue to correctly use these terms throughout. And if they do that, then they earn the full L1 marks. So let's keep reading. In a market economy, entrepreneurs and businesses can respond to changes in demand from the consumer side. They can supply a greater quantity of a product to the market when demand rises and can reduce output when demand falls. So we say end demand, end price, and reduce output when demand, you can say end price. Okay. It is the attraction of profit that encourages firms to meet rising consumer demand. This is a significant advantage of the market economy over the planned economy. In a market economy, there is greater flexibility in businesses' ability to respond to market needs. This allows for prices and output to accurately reflect what consumers want. So this is going to be analysis, and the point that we're going to make is that entrepreneurs and businesses can respond to changes in demand from the consumer side. So they can supply greater quantity of product to the market. So this part is the application. What we want to get to is the analysis. And they're kind of like, they overlap very closely. But ultimately, the difference between application and analysis is that analysis answers like the so what question. So for example, they can, this part here, they can supply a greater quantity of a product to the market when demand and price rises. Well, the real reason we're concerned about that is that we want to see this part, this analysis, that the market economy has greater flexibility. It allows for prices to reflect what consumers want. So I'm going to say in here, application, so L2 and L3 marks start to be developed and show good strategy, right? Good essay strategy. Okay, let's keep reading. So now I'm thinking L3 and L4 are coming. Sorry, L2 and L3 are coming. Let's see what the next paragraph is like. If it follows the same thought process of this one I've just read, then we're in good shape. For many goods, this can be beneficial to an economy. However, there is still an issue as to the provision of public goods and over-provision of demerit goods. Public goods, which are goods that are non-excludable and non-rivalrous, are unlikely to be provided by private enterprise. Public goods, such as national defense, allow for people who enjoy the benefit to enjoy the benefit of the good without having to pay for it. So this is just like definition, right? So more L1. Someone who avoids tax is protected by the same army as the individual who has paid their taxes. So the enjoyment of one individual of national security does not reduce the enjoyment of others, making the good non-rivalrous. In this kind of situation, a pure market system provides no incentive for producers to develop public goods. All right, I'll say this section furthers application, knowledge. So I'm just going to write L1 for knowledge, L2, and is light from, I'd say it's light from the L3 side because the analysis is not thorough enough. Maybe you could talk about the free rider problem and say public goods allow for this problem to exist and why it's an issue, and then that is a problem in a market system because who's going to provide these goods due to the free rider problem, as opposed to a planned economy where the government will provide these things and so on. So let's actually continue that thought. From a planned economy perspective, the government will take responsibility providing public goods to ensure public welfare. This is an advantage of the planned system in that the needs of society as a whole are met through the provision of public goods. So this statement here is your L3 because it's saying this is the so what, right? The planned economy, the government takes responsibility, and the public welfare is ensured. So why is this important? Well, it's because it's an advantage of the system to meet the needs of society. So L3 marks are earned here and developed. Now, it seems brief, but it does what it needs to do. And we can go further. In addition, in a planned economy, the government can decide to prohibit the production of demerit goods, which are goods that can cause harm to an individual, such as cigarettes and alcohol. In a planned economy, a government could restrict the production or sale of demerit goods. However, in a market economy, there is no government to intervene. Thus, demerit goods are produced and consumed. And we can say freely. This is to the detriment of the consumer and society. The price mechanism does not accurately reflect the cost of the individual and society. So here, we are getting into some good L2 and L3, right? We're making a statement and then we're going through and supporting it by saying something that the planned economy can prohibit demerit goods. We define demerit goods, and then we talk about the problem of demerit goods, and then we kind of give an example and go through somewhat. So L2 and L3 marks are developed as the writer continues to demonstrate good understanding, sound application, and effective analysis. So I've raised this analysis and application thing throughout. So you see, I keep coming back to it, right? I'm not repeating points so much in this essay, but I am noticing that I continue analysis from different angles, still addressing the question. So because the main question is it always beneficial? Right, let me go up here. Is it always beneficial to have make a market economy to a planned economy because of the price mechanism? Well, no, the price mechanism doesn't do one, it doesn't do two, it doesn't do three. So we're attacking the price system with this analysis. On balance, it can be seen from the analysis that a market economy is not always preferred to a planned economy. In those situations listed, there can be a preference for a planned system. Most economies, however, are mixed, borrowing elements from both the market and planned systems. This allows for the society of welfare to be the welfare of society to be maximized through government intervention and regulation where necessary. So let's say here, L1 marks are achieved. Why are L1 marks achieved? Because this person knows are achieved because the writer demonstrates knowledge of, let's say demonstrates good knowledge of the key concepts in the essay prompt. L2 marks are achieved because the writer makes points and develops them with reference to the prompt. L3 marks are achieved because the writer argues their points with sound logic and reasoning. L4 marks are achieved because the writer evaluates the always portion of the essay prompt. Right? We've answered the question. Like, is it always better? No, it's not always better, and we've explained to you why. And then you added this other element of discussing that most economies are mixed. So you're evaluating that actually it's not the case pretty much anywhere you go. So the evaluation, I would say, so the evaluation leaves something to be desired, but at 12 marks, it is towards the higher end of the mark band. If this was like a 20 mark essay, I don't know how much you could possibly write, but I think for this prompt at 12 marks, you're putting in a sufficient amount. So I will say the marks for this essay, if it's out of 12, I would give it 11 marks, right? That's just me being harsh. So 11 marks out of 12 for this essay. You know, write your comments below this video. Let me know what you think. And hopefully I'll post some more stuff on here and help you develop your writing skill as we go.